Thank you. For everyone that might be watching this remotely, over Zoom, or watching the recording, I want to thank you for taking time to be part of this inauguration. I especially want to thank Governor Sununu, Justice Hicks, Representative Edwards, members of the State House and State Senate, Luann Gaines, the New Hampshire Kid Governor Coordinator, Martha Madsen, the Executive Director at New Hampshire's Institute for Civic Education, to all of my supporters, friends, and voters that took part in the Kid Governor election, to each of the other candidates for Kid Governor, Merrick and his issue of climate change, Olivia and equity, Bree and how expensive sports are, Matthew and hunger, Shayla and littering, and Grace and helping the homeless. To my friend Connor, who has helped me get through my depression, to my mom and dad, and to my sister Lila. Thank you for supporting me and giving me this opportunity. I am truly humbled and honored to serve as the next Kid Governor of the state of New Hampshire. My name is Charlie Olsen. I live in Auburn, New Hampshire, and I love my town. I love our great state of New Hampshire, and I am honored to represent the fifth graders of the state. I am so fortunate to have such an amazing team of teachers and administrators at Auburn Village School. Mrs. Cohen, my homeroom teacher, you changed my life by bringing me into your classroom. Mrs. Kaiser, my social studies teacher, this challenge gave me a voice to speak up and help kids that are struggling with depression, and I am so grateful. Dr. Collins, my principal, you've supported me every step of the way, and I am very thankful. I am so excited to be the next New Hampshire Kid Governor, but the reason I ran is because I want to help kids who may be suffering from depression. I'd like to begin with the definition of a word. It's important that we understand what a stigma is. A stigma is a mark of disgrace related to a circumstance or a person. Many times, people who suffer from depression feel a bit of disgrace. You may fall and skim your knee, and you're not afraid to tell your teacher that your knee hurts, but you're seriously depressed and sad and suffering mentally, and you avoid to talk about your depression because of the stigma. I'm a straight-A student. I play several sports like soccer, baseball, golf, skiing, and triathlons. I have a loving, supporting family and two sweet golden retrievers, Hank and Spunky Lola. I have an adorable sister. She made me put that in. My mom has stayed home to take care of me and my sister. I have tons of friends at school and beyond. My parents always said that I was the happiest person they ever met. Lou Gehrig said in his famous speech, "I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth." Some would say that I have the perfect life. But at mid-March, all of that changed. My world and the rest of the world's lives changed in a big way. We began the COVID lockdowns, and we were separated and isolated from our friends. My perfect life didn't seem so perfect to me anymore, and I struggled with loneliness and fear that came with the quarantine orders. My doctor diagnosed me with situational depression. You might be wondering what depression feels like. When my mom would tuck me in at night, I would cry myself to sleep. I couldn't eat because I constantly had stomach aches from mind-body connections. I was constantly stressed about and worried about everything, including what school would look like next year and what COVID would be like. My joints ached for no physical reason. There is hope. If we can help kids understand what depression feels like, they can talk to a trusted adult, a counselor or a coach who can help them, or maybe they can even talk to a friend if they are feeling down. I want kids to know that they don't have to do this alone. Before the pandemic, approximately 44,000 kids were diagnosed with depression in New Hampshire. This number does not include the kids that have been undiagnosed. During the pandemic, children and adults have been struggling, and this number has gotten so much bigger this year. I want you to know that if you're feeling sad or depressed, you don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. Kids have been isolated from their friends. Kids are social beings. We need to spend time with our friends. Kids are still learning how the world works every day, and we're not meant to be stuck in a Zoom in a virtual world. During the pandemic, kids have not been able to see their friends face-to-face or hang out with each other. For a 10-year-old to go 1 year without seeing their friends, that's 10% of their life. Imagine a 50-year-old not being able to see their friends for 5 years. I want to bring kids together to know that they have the support that they need. They are isolated and they can't talk to their friends how they're feeling and their emotions. I plan to host and create public service announcements on TV and let kids know that they don't have to be ashamed of how they were feeling. The first 3 or 4 months of the lockdown were the hardest for me and my best friend Connor. We weren't used to being apart, and we both struggled getting through it alone. But when our moms decided to make a quarantine, we got to be together in person and play and talk to each other. Having a friend to talk to about how you're feeling made the biggest difference, and I know it would work for other kids too. By creating mentoring and buddy programs, we can help kids have someone to talk to and to recover from depression. I plan to create mentoring programs for kids by connecting remotely in classrooms around the state, along with mental health professionals to discuss the issue of depression. With the help of a school counselor on the other end of the virtual meeting, I want to talk to 5th graders about what it feels like to be depressed and let kids know they shouldn't be afraid to talk about their depression and they don't have to do this alone. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you understand why you aren't feeling quite like yourself, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you're feeling sad and lonely, you don't have to do this alone. If you're suddenly feeling physical pain for unknown reasons, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like you're the only person that is struggling, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like things are hopeless, you don't have to do this alone. So, if you are watching this inauguration and you're feeling the way I felt during this pandemic, I want you to know that you are not alone. We can make the world a better place for kids. We can live happier lives and eliminate the stigma associating with mental health and childhood depression. So much better last time. Our future is a world we get to create together. Join me in making New Hampshire a place that is free of stigma associating with childhood depression. Thank you.